Today in Belonging in Utah, we're taking a closer look at the layout and conditions of the Topaz Internment Camp.
It was a drastic adjustment for Japanese American families forced to leave the comforts of their homes and their businesses. Jamie McGriff joins us with this story.
Building Topaz Internment Camp in central Utah cost just under $4 million. Historians say before seeing or being sent to Topaz, many Japanese descendants and those of Japanese descent, they were detained at the Tanforan and Santa Anita racetracks in California, and they were forced to live in horse stalls while waiting for the Topaz Internment Camp to be completed.
So we have dressers that were made there, we have chairs that were made there.
These artifacts put into perspective what it was like living in Topaz during World War II.
You know, this model, we base it on facts. It's to scale. The recreated barrack is to scale. The artifacts that are in there are mostly exactly from Topaz.
Jane Beckwith, the Topaz Museum's founder, says that it wasn't easy showcasing items and explaining the hardships Japanese Americans faced in Topaz, living behind barbed wire, struggling emotionally while under constant surveillance by armed guards because of their race.
That was very hard. I mean, we could show the artwork and say how creative they were, or we could have a panel about dance classes or something like that. But to talk about the civil rights denials, that was hard.
Beckwith says that the camp size for where families lived was about 1 square mile, 640 acres approximately. The Topaz site in its entirety covered 31 square miles.
Because it had farms, it had a cattle ranch, it had a chicken farm, it had a turkey operation.
More than 19,000 acres was designated for farming. As history records show, it was all by design by the U.S. government.
Because they were trying to make them be self-sufficient.
Topaz consisted of 42 blocks, and you can see the outlines of those blocks from above. The majority of those blocks each housed 250 people. The barracks where people slept were not insulated. Outside walls consisted of pine boards and covered with tar paper, with inside walls made of sheetrock. Residents here suffered living through extreme hot and cold desert temperatures and dust storms. Was the goal to keep the Japanese Americans here? Was that the goal?
No, I actually think the goal was for them to leave, but not go back to California. They didn't have to work, but if they worked, they were paid a piddling amount. They were making between like $14 and $19 a month. So if they were a doctor, Japanese American doctor, they were making 19.
Japanese Americans living in Topaz did what they could to create a life that mimicked what they once knew, with schooling, recreation, and cultural events, all with the looming pain of being under watchful suspicion during World War II. The Topaz Museum says Japanese Americans could leave Topaz as long as they were heading east, away from California, and going for a job or to school. They couldn't return to California until January of 1945. Jamie McGriff, KUTV 2 News.